What's up, guys? We are... Ugh, that was stupid. What's up, guys? We are back in the book nook this week. It is the first day of fall. It's 100 degrees in Las Vegas. So I thought that I should do a fall kind of getting close to Halloween kind of book review. The book that I'm going to talk to you about today is a book that I normally wouldn't read. I clearly just got it for aesthetic purposes and because I liked the story when I was younger, and the more I read this story, the more I realized that I actually had never seen this movie when I was younger. The book I am reviewing today is Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel, which came out, I think, in like 2 months ago. Really missed the ball on marketing. Like, they could have had this come out like now and it would have been big. But for those of you that didn't know, like, I was posting this on my Instagram and I posted it kind of like, well, I'll show you a photo here. The way I posted it, a lot of people thought that this was like a DVD or like a movie or something. It's not, it's totally a book. I don't generally read the Disney Hyperion books just because I'm into fantasy, but my fantasy is a little bit more adult. But I mean, just look at the cover. Like, you have to get this just because of the cover. And plus it says witch, please. The way that this book is set up is it has the original story of Hocus Pocus, the movie, the version that everybody saw, but it's a little bit more in depth, obviously, because there are scenes where you can see what Max is thinking or see what Winifred is thinking, and so it's a little bit more in depth. If you were really into Hocus Pocus or still really are during Halloween time, I would definitely recommend getting this book just to read. Like, it's just interesting. I always remember Hocus Pocus as something like my cousin was really into, like, any time of the year, and I was such a chicken that I remember certain points of the movie, like they stand around a cauldron, or the scene where Bette Midler opens the window and says, "Ah,
look, another glorious morning. Makes me sick."
Like me. Like every day. So that's the first part of this book. The first part of the book is the complete Hocus Pocus story that we all know and love. The second part of this book, the sequel part, follows Max and Allison's child named Poppy, and they, for some reason, live still in Salem, Massachusetts, even though like this horrific thing happened to them when they were in high school, and decided to raise a child there. So Poppy is in high school, and her father Max is actually one of the teachers in school. I think we all remember the beginning of Hocus Pocus where they show us like what happened in Salem and like the lore of the sisters, and then the scene cuts to present time at the time. Max is sitting in his history class or something, and it's actually like the teacher retelling this story of the Sanderson sisters. Max is one of the teachers, and he's actually Poppy's teacher, her history teacher, and he kind of refuses to tell the story of the Sanderson sisters, and nobody really knows why, except for Poppy. Poppy is very well aware of what her parents went through many years ago. I don't want to give anything away, but obviously the Sanderson sisters come back. This story I was like, okay, little fun story, Halloween story, whatever. By the end of the story, I was like, what's gonna happen? Like, this and I think The Cruel Prince are actually my top 2 surprising stories. I think Cruel Prince still wins out, but the ending of this book, or towards the end, because I mean, it's just Disney story, so, you know, let's keep that in mind. Towards the end had me like on pins and needles. I highly recommend getting this book if you're a chicken like me and can only handle this amount of scariness in your life, but you still enjoy Hocus Pocus. I'm really surprised that I liked it, and also, obviously, it's not marketed towards kids today, really. I feel like I'm in the age group that can still like enjoy this story as like a cute little romp in Salem. I don't think this sounds really stupid, but I don't think like my sisters somebody who's like 18 to 23 now could really appreciate all the nuances going on in this book. There's a lot of like odes to the original story. One of my favorite things was, and also one of the most like obvious things was, I think we all remember Max and Danny's parents. It's one of the most iconic scenes of my childhood is when Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and, well, when Bette Midler sings I Put a Spell on You, but when Max and Danny find their parents and their mother is wearing that Madonna like bra thing and she's like kind of embarrassed. In this one, Allison actually dresses up as Lady Gaga for Halloween. So cute little like things like that to show the differences of the time and how the story kind of parallels, how the new story kind of parallels the old. So I really enjoyed it. If you're my age, I think you'll definitely enjoy this book. Like I said, if you were into Hocus Pocus, I would definitely pick it up. It doesn't like try and recreate the original story. If anything, I feel like it enhances it a lot more just because we get a little bit more backstory from the Sanderson sisters. And at the end of the sequel, there are hints at there possibly being some more story that has been left untold. So something like this will come out again next year. If anything, just to make myself seem cool, like, ooh, I'm reading a scary book. It's not really scary. Like, it's my level of all I can handle in scary. This book, there really wasn't a soundtrack that I had to this book. I read this book as like a bridge to get everything of Akawar out of my brain because I literally lived in those books for like a month. So I read a contemporary book and then I read this one and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm Halloween music. I didn't really listen to anything that stands out during this. I really just thought of like Hocus Pocus, their theme music, and you know, I Put a Spell on You, obviously, and Lady Gaga for the sequel. So if you have read this book, if you're about to read this book, whatever, if you're in the middle of reading this book, let me know what you're thinking in the comments below, especially about the sequel. What do you think about the sequel? Because there are some things that I feel like going on in the book community, in the author community, that are big staples right now that this book seems to have. Everybody's complaining right now, or not complaining, making others more aware that we're not really seeing a lot of diversity in stories coming out, especially in fantasy and high fantasy. By diversity, I mean ethnicities. Not seeing a lot of that. Everybody seems to be white these days. We're not seeing a lot of strong characters that are also leading characters that are LGBTQ, or, you know, there's just kind of this whole fantasy thing. It's become a thing where it's just like, if it's a YA fantasy, there has to be some kind of love interest. If it's a woman lead character, she has to be like a feminist and a badass, but she also has to have a lot of love interest, and that has to be a white male. That's kind of like the archetype, or kind of like these specific things that we've been following. In this one, not to give anything away, I think it's in the sequel, it's pretty set clear within the first couple pages that Poppy, their daughter, Max and Allison's daughter, is gay, and she's in high school, and her best friend is black, and she's in love with her friend who is also black. So it's kind of, I feel like everything that people are saying is wrong with other books right now got put into this book. And I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if maybe like that seems way oversaturated. Diverseness, I like that the fact that it's Disney that is doing this. I mean, it's under their name and everything, but is it too much? Is it too little? Should we see more books like this? Should we not? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you did not like this video, give it a dislike, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!